Okay, so how many movies can you name that are basically in one setting? One room-ish, but basically they're in one location, that are great, that have an influence that you'd probably watch again. You put some below. I'm gonna throw out a few, like 12 Angry Men, Breakfast Club, and now I would also put The Invite in there, having seen it the other night. There's so many wonderful things that I want to say about The Invite. The more time that I have to sort of digest it and absorb it, the more I love it. Because it's so simple, right? And I don't mean that it was easy to shoot or anything like that, but the idea, the concept is simple in that, hey, we're gonna put this story in one apartment, essentially, one room, maybe a couple of side rooms, but it's like a play, right? How many great performances or great moments have happened in the creative world, in this sort of artistic environment, on stage, on a small stage in Shakespeare's day or in modern times. It's kind of the same thing. You're following the story. The characters, the actors have to pull this off. And in The Invite, they just did it with such an interesting way to go about it. They just pulled it off. They made you feel like you were watching something that was lighthearted, but also important, that was relevant, but also something that could give you hope, maybe, depending on how you look at it. It set it up, I think, to where it kind of depends on your perspective as to how you're going to apply it to your own life or take things from it. It's like the old saying goes, the world is as you are. I really appreciated how funny it was. You know, Seth Rogen was really funny. They were all funny. There were times where other people in the theater didn't laugh, but I was the only one laughing. Like, you know, at the end, Edward Norton, his character's so kind of, I don't know, interesting, but also kind of, I don't want to say douchey, but, you know, when people are really, they're opening up their chakras and they're telling you about it, it is interesting, but it's also kind of like, you know, at the same time, and he does that so well. I think the thing that really struck a chord with me was how close to home it was. You know, it felt like I was watching, if somebody had to explain to an alien or an extraterrestrial being what human relationships are like, where they go, not the beginning, which is part of the relationship, yes, but I mean, once they get going, what happens? Why, if aliens like, well, why are the divorce rates at 60% or whatever it is? You would show them, I think this would be one of the movies you could show them where we get off, you know, the sex drops off, the interest in what the other person is saying kind of fades into the background, people don't listen, and it happens over time, and some people it happens in certain situations quicker than others, of course. It depends on the chemistry and what people do for a living, all those factors that go into it. And for me, I just could really relate to what was happening. It was one of those things, one of those movies that taps into all these different emotional experiences and intellectual experiences that I've had, and I got the feeling that it was happening for everyone around me, and then when I watch people review it, it's the same kind of thing. And I think that's what's going to carry this movie forward in terms of like getting a lot of reviews, probably some awards talk. It's going to connect with a lot of people. Anytime you can do all of that and make people laugh, where it's not like a, you know, like a Judd Apatow flick, which I love Judd Apatow movies, but you know, it's the right kind of laughing. And anytime you can do that, you're just going to bring people into your project. You know, it was the first time that I've seen Olivia Wilde act, other than, you know, some guest spots on Portlandia. And she was great. I thought she played so well this character with anxiety. And, you know, you watch someone like this and you can kind of see that the wheels are always going, no matter what. And they have to like read some article to get themselves to do more TM to calm down, but they wake up and the wheels start going and they just can't turn it off. Now, I can relate to that, not in terms of like my own experience, but I can relate to that into the experience I have in relationships, if you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to phrase this the right way. But I see that, and that could be down to me and who, the people that I've had relationships with. I don't know. But it hit close to home. But she does this with such an interesting take, I think, because the arc for her is really interesting. Where she starts, and she's got these sprinkled in moments where she's crouching down talking about her souffle, looking up at him, super funny, very smart. And then where she goes with the sort of the sexual energy, and it all leads to the end. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the end because I don't want to spoil it, but I might. So there's your warning, okay? Her arc, everyone's arc seems to go, the two main characters, Seth Rogen and Olivia Wilde, their arc seems to get off a little bit. Their paths, maybe not arc, but paths get off. And through this experience of talking to Penelope Cruz's character, who was a psychotherapist, things get revealed and it's almost like a session, basically, like you're watching a session. And by the end, there's this delta, if that's the right word to use, where everything comes together. And you don't really know whether things are going to work out or what, but you get this sense of peace the way that it ends. I mean, when he starts playing the piano after it's become clear that, as he's a music professor, that touching his piano is not something he or anybody else should do. And so when it becomes clear that they're maybe at the end of their relationship and they're in separate rooms, and there's these beautiful shots of seeing the characters through the windows. Their apartment's kind of, I think, like a U-shaped, so you can see across through the windows of one side into the other, and you kind of see him in there playing, and then they come together at the piano, and it's kind of left open, right? It's a beautiful crossroads moment where we don't know what's going to happen, like Lost in Translation, like Castaway, and a lot of other movies. But it's kind of down to who you are, which is why I think it's brilliant, in addition to all the things I've mentioned, is to how you're going to take that and run with it. Are you the type of person who sees them breaking up? That's what they did. You the type of person who thinks they're going to continue to go on and be successful at it? That's who you are. It's brilliant. And I love that idea. And I also thought at the end, when they're showing these shots through the windows, and the windows are a big part of this movie because, the neighbors see them, that they invite for dinner. That's it, 4 characters, right? They invite this couple for dinner because they're having sex too loud above them. Turns out they're into group sex and things happen. But there's some issues with Seth Rogen's character because they've been looking at Olivia Wilde through the window from upstairs, and she's participated in this. And then at the end, you see all these shots of windows. So there's something going on there with the symbolic nature of what's happening with windows. But I kind of thought at the end that you see her sit down next to him at the piano, and I got really emotional thinking about this. You almost get the sense that their daughter, who's away for the weekend, their 12-year-old daughter, is looking at her parents, who are going to be okay, after all the fighting, whatever else happens, the energy that the people can feel when a relationship's at the end, not just the two people involved, but other people who live there, children, whatever. And you're seeing this through the window. Now, I don't know whose window you're seeing it from. It could be from the kitchen. Doesn't matter. From the child's bedroom. Doesn't matter. But you get that sense that somebody else, there's a voyeuristic element to this, which is comforting. Because even if things don't work out, you get the sense that they're going to be all okay. But if you lean more into that thing of like, this is a family that's going to find a way to get back on the track that keeps them together, it hits pretty hard. So that was one thing that I noticed. I loved it. I'd love to know what you think about it. Was there anything about it that stuck out to you? What did you think about Olivia Wilde's directing? It did feel like there were some shots to me that I'd seen before, and I can't remember the movies. And I'm not saying that she's emulating, but we're all emulating, aren't we? I mean, we're all taking things subconsciously or consciously that help us tell whatever story we're trying to tell, whether it's a painting or a poem or whatever. We're all sort of standing on these things that have helped push us forward. But overall, I thought the movie was great. It was beautifully shot. It was put together really well. It worked. It flowed. It was intense at times, but it wasn't intense like Breaking Bad season 3 when you're constantly seeing them like, oh my God, I can't take this anymore. It felt like there were enough funny moments and enough insightful moments and enough self-reflection, I think, on behalf of the characters, where they're actually taking in interesting thoughts that are being suggested to them by either the other or Penelope Cruz's character or Edward Norton's character. And so it makes it easier to digest, I think. But I thought it was fantastic, and I can't wait to see it again. I think if they're going to do 10 Best Picture nominees this year, I think this is on that list. I've seen a lot of movies this year. Of course, this is a movie channel. I don't know if I could find 10 at this point. I mean, we're only halfway through the year, give or take, but I definitely put it on that list now. So, The Invite, I thought it was a fantastic watch. It's refreshing. Love watching things that are real, you know. So let me know what you think. Put it below. What did you think of it? Are you going to see it if you haven't seen it? Have you heard people say good things? I want to hear about it. That's the whole point of this channel, is to talk to people below. If you comment, I will respond to you. It's just why I'm here. And don't forget to sign up for the movie Raffle Club. If you don't know what it is, I have a Patreon. There's a link in the description. You can find it easily on this channel. You join the Patreon, and every month I will put all the names of the Patreon members in a jar. I'll pick one out every month, and I will send the winner surprise DVDs, getting something beautiful in the mail. Tangible mail for your support. Who else is doing that? Probably some people. But movies via old formats, DVDs, they're coming back. I mean, I've never stopped collecting, but I hear they're coming back. So join that. Let me know what you think. The Invite. Can't wait to see it again.